Welcome back to Streamline Investigations. This is interesting because obviously the P. Diddy case is going on and going on. But like I said, a lot of the people who have worked with P. Diddy and has, stood up in court and had something to say about him, some of them have even sort of gone back to him for money or for work. I'm saying a lot of the stuff in these parties were bang out of order and the way he abused people. But I think the mad thing is that Diddy is still a very, very powerful person. Let's listen to this by Joe D69. This is interesting.
Who's on trial may have just found out that he has a get out of jail free card. You heard me, a get out of jail free card. Let me explain. So President Trump was asked by reporters if he thought about pardoning Diddy. You see, President Trump and Diddy were friends when Trump was on The Apprentice. Take a look at this.
Back when he hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble. Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter. Nobody's asked, but I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly...
So that tells me he hasn't just dismissed anything. So what he's technically saying is, if it's proven that there might be some kind of debate in what Diddy's charged with, or what he's been prosecuted with, he may step in. That's what he's actually saying.
We're getting a lot of coverage. I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact.
I've seen a couple of videos floating around here with alleged accusations that Diddy did reach out to President Trump for a pardon. But as you just heard in that video, Trump came out and just said no one has reached out to him about a pardon. What are your thoughts on this? Do you think that Trump should pardon him if he finds something pardon worthy in this case? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
I do think that, like I said, Diddy has abused a lot of people, but like I said, it's proven it in court, and some of these cases are just going on. And like I said, a lot of it is he has abused people at the end of the day, but everything else, people are going on the stand and giving their witness statements of these parties. But some of these people willingly went along as well, and it just makes this case a lot more difficult. Let me know what you think, people. That was part one. Welcome back to part two, people. Some really interesting stuff I was looking at. And this is by CBS News. The defence moved for a mistrial in the trial of Sean Diddy Combs, claiming the prosecutorial misconduct. And I've looked it up, and it says a trial rendered invalid through an error in the proceedings. Let's get straight into this.
11 o'clock this morning, the defense said we are moving for a mistrial based on prosecutorial misconduct. The motion was denied. But here's the backstory. Lance Jimenez, an arson investigator, was asked about that Molotov cocktail that was found inside Kid Cudi's car back in 2012. He said that in August of 2012, print cards were destroyed. Here's where the defense took the issue. There were two additional questions asked that said, did you authorize prints to be destroyed? This is what the prosecution asked the arson investigator. Then they said, was this unusual? So the defense said in their argument as to why they want a mistrial that they felt this was prejudicial. They felt like this was the prosecution trying to put in the jurors' heads that Combs somehow was involved with the destruction of evidence. But again, the judge denied the motion for a mistrial, and instead, when the jurors came back, he said to them, quote, questions regarding destruction of fingerprint cards are irrelevant and not to be considered in this case.
That was CB News, and this was an interesting one. Life and Legacy said, Diddy is guilty, just not of federal charges. This is clearly a case of overcharging. Diddy is an abusive manipulator and may have committed plenty of criminal acts, but I'm not seeing the criminal enterprise. His crimes are personal, petty and vindictive. None are business related. His personal life is literally what destroys his enterprise. I agree. That's a very, very good point there. I think you hit the nail on the head. And I said, someone said, bot, that's a fact. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of points in there. You know, some of them are petty, but some of these people had used Diddy as well for money or for work or for parties and stuff like that as well. I think it works both two ways at the end of the day. Sometimes, yes, I think Diddy is responsible for doing bad things, but I think a lot of people as well had gone back to him after he did these bad things as well and should have reported it a long time ago. Let me know what you think, people. I do think Diddy's a manipulator, but I do think I can see him getting away with a lot of things just because he's kind of powerful in the connections he has got. Let me know what you think, people. Don't forget to subscribe to Streamline Investigations. Thank you.